In this video we have a very early, at least for Sharp, VCR. I think these came out around 1979 and were sold to about 1981 according to, I think it was the Radio Museum. And I did find an ad somewhere on eBay from a magazine, I think it was from 1979. So these sort of predate when most people bought home VCRs, and it's actually only the second one I've ever seen of these. The only other one I ever saw was a place I worked at when I was finishing my apprenticeship, and they just had a dead one that was written off for some reason, sitting on the shelf with a few other antiquated VCRs. I think it was an old Akai VS5 or something, and a Sharp, I think it was a Sharp 7300, which is the similar size to this, front loading, but looked more like a standard front loading video except large. And I forget there was a couple of Akai VS2s, VS3s, those sort of things, which would get a few weird faults in them that had gotten written off, and a few other antiquated machines. But yeah, quite a weird machine. It's got these almost like a car cassette, pointy LEDs for rewind and fast forward, LCD display. Very rare you see them on a VCR. And yeah, big old piano keys, and it's got a door here. It is actually front load. Push a cassette tape to the full extent while holding its front center. I think they've got a sort of older type mechanism as far as the loading, but they do take them in and drop them down onto the reels. But most machines were top loading back then. This is the Australian model, which is an X. I think there's ones with different numbers on the end. They had this big remote control, but I think that only did like slow-mo and stuff. I don't think it tells us a lot else. That's probably just the specs here. Picks up the normal channels, anti-dew heater. I think these had the big old brass heads in them, like I think up to the 8300, which I think came out about 1982. They had these big old brass heads in them, lots of solenoids and stuff to run everything. Very mechanical. It wasn't until like the 9300 in around 1983 and the 381, which were very similar machines, VC300, that they got a lot cheaper because they got rid of all that mechanical complexity and went to a mode switch and a master cam that did everything, instead of lots of individual leaf switches and tons of wiring and solenoids for every function or something. That's what I remember the 8300 as having, something like that. I know it had a lot of mechanical levers connected to solenoids. Oh wow, it's got like a whole bank of tuners like you would have had in a Sharp television of that era. And it looks like most of the screws are missing out of this thing, so someone's probably been in it. I've got a channel 3-4 modulator switch there. And yeah, well, I probably can't see that well. Standby, operate, timer, power and dew lights. Great big remote connector, that's like a 8 or 10 pin or something. DIN, record selector, auxiliary input or television, tracking, video TV switch is a big old flick on one, pause cue. Oh, okay, old tape remoting selector, yeah, because we've got another odd sort of feature, this LED bar graph thing. You can tell it we've got an E30, 60, 120 or 180, so that's how old it is. They're actually E30 and 60 tapes, so they did kind of make up later for just like advertising agencies or something, or people that want to put out promotional videos or something, so you could get them, I think. Duplicators and stuff would sell you shorter tapes, but for the consumer market you didn't see any of those. Normally just your, well, mainly 180s and 240s became the standard. So that's kind of good. I see what they're doing there is actually, if you're recording stuff, it gives you an indicator when you get down to 60 minutes left, because people are always cutting off the end of programs. Metal bottom. What's at the back of this thing? Whoa, it certainly weighs a bit. I probably should weigh it out and see what it is, but I guess we're in the 15 kilo area or something. Is it? Well, it could be 20 kilos. I mean, it's kind of a bag of cement almost. So just the details there, made in Tokiji or something, Japan. I don't think they normally go the place names, but here we've got the BNC connectors. That's right, these early Sharps, I think even the 9300 all had DIN connectors just to make it hard. Possibly even the VC300, but I could be wrong about that. They did use them for a while. Standard antenna connectors, figure 8 cord. What have we got here? Oh my god, that's probably, this is the rotten battery department, I guess, or compartment. Better get them out while we think of it. Are they for clock backup or something? At least, I mean, that one looks like it's leaked a bit, but yeah, nothing bad. Thankfully, we've got a date, made in Australia. That probably gives you an idea of the date. Couple of wood screws holding the board. Let's see what we've got under here. Can we use the old test tape to hold it up? Looks like we can. And yeah, nice brass heads. Yeah, the belts. At least it's turning, it's not stuck, but that just slipped. Yeah, it slips. And yeah, big corroded patch. That's been sitting in one spot an awfully long time. And we've got a, oh yeah, well that's stuck there. It's one of your problems. Oh man, that belt's as hard as anything. Yeah, stuck. Well, I don't think that motor's going to run with that belt on there. Let's see if we can at least break it off there. Don't know if you can get belt kits for these anymore, but yeah, the belt's gone all gooey too. It's got oil on it. That's what those pinch rollers do. I'm getting oil on my hands from that. At least the pinch roller I think is standard in these for later model ones. Let's see if we can get that motor to run. I wonder if that was not running because of the belt stuck to it, or even if that, I don't even know if that is the loading motor. Is that the capstan or something? Still nothing. Oh. Okay, so this thing does not have a loading motor by the look of it. What did I press? Stop, I pressed the wrong button. Oh, that's eject. So you put it in. Stop load. It does say load there. I did see that before. So that's how you load it up. Well, it helps if you work out how to use the thing. Is that the play button? Oh, that's showing rewind. So that is meant to be play. Oh, there goes that motor. That's record, I think. Audio, dub, pause. So record gets us to try and do something. So is this loaded? Yeah, how do we load the or lace the tape up? Oh, that motor did that. What's that? Yeah, I thought it started a couple of times. Stopped. Oh, there, when I let go it goes. Only once though. Hit record. No, didn't go that time. There's a little high-pitched sort of whirring noise. So well, at least the loading mech seems to work, but there is no actual self-loading. You just push it in, then you hit another button to clunk it down. What a crazy design. So we need a belt, but we still don't know what starts up the drum and everything. So what is this? It doesn't feel very good when I try and turn it anyway. That's okay, I think. Oh, do we need to put something in there first? Oh, we've got a. Oh, this is the reel. We've got a reel turning. Oh, I know what we're missing. It's a sharp. You need a sensor lamp. what's the bet? Oh, another thing we might have is, am I pressing a down? Yeah, I think we're pressing on any necessary buttons, but of course the sensor lamp and a sharp. How can you forget that? The most common cause of no play in a sharp machine is blown sensor lamp. And this is one of those old circuit board mounting ones that, God, I haven't seen one of those in a long time. I think AWA or something used to use a similar thing. Chances are it's going to be shot though. Let's do a continuity test on that. Not the easiest thing to get to, whether it might measure okay. Yeah, I think that's a bit high. Anyway, because who knows what's across the other end of it. I assume it's switched on via a circuit or something if it knows that it's faulty. Don't think that cable tie there is original, so someone's probably replaced it before. There's another cable tie there. God. Not easy. Oh, this one's actually got the plastic bits to melt it onto the board. I think the idea was don't think it matters which way that goes. Disconnect it. Oh, I did turn the power off. Yeah, open as. Yeah, what voltage is that? Who knows? In the old days, you'd go to your Wagner catalogue or something and it would probably tell you what it actually was. And they'd have a replacement, of course. Some of these were like 5 volt or something. I guess I'll try a 12 volt one in there. Can you pull it out and leave the... Hopefully we can just pull the lamp out and leave the plastic behind. Can't remember, I think did the 8300 or something like this, maybe it was a 7300. That might have had one. All the later ones had a lamp with leads. And you replace the whole lamp and lead assembly. I guess that's not just going to come out, is it? Are we even loose? You'd think that had just come out. I wonder if they've glued it in there or something. Oh well, we'll just get the knife and cut those few little bits off. Yeah, they just break off easy. Yeah, the leads are definitely loose, but I get a feeling I may have actually had to break them and pull them out. Which of course I can't really do on camera, but you just squeeze them with some pliers over in the bin. Creating that, and then I think if you pull hard enough on the remaining bits of wire, there you have it. So I've probably done this before. Maybe not on this model, but on some model I get a feeling, like I say, that maybe the 8300 was the same. I did fix the odd, maybe one or two 7300s, I think, or certainly had a couple of them that I may have tried to get going second hand, even though they weren't really worth much at the time. 8300s I didn't see a lot of, but I think there were a few around from one of the rental companies and another company that refurbished TVs and stuff. I think got a few of them. I seem to remember seeing some there on their junk heap or something. So if we just do that, I mean, ideally you'd melt that plastic stuff back on, but I'm not going to do anything until I know that a 12 volt even lights up. I think the other sharps might have actually been 5 volt or something weird, the ones with the leads on them. I know some machine had some oddball voltage like that. Now, can we easily get this soldered back onto those? Probably not. It's one thing to take them off, another to put them back on again. Yeah, maybe we can do it. I really just want to assess this machine at the moment. I don't want to pull it all apart if I don't have to, just to see if it does anything, because it's going to need a belt kit or individual belts. It's like I say, belt kit, probably pretty rare. I don't know how many of these they sold in Australia, but I doubt it was many, because it would have been pretty expensive. Like I say, not part of the home movie boom era because it's just too expensive for the average family. I get to burn my finger. As long as we don't show it to the chassis, we should be right. Now we have a sensor lamp. That lights up. Probably about right, maybe a little dim, I don't know. We should get some action now. When we press play, woohoo, we got drum. Not very good drum, but a drum nonetheless. We've got, yeah, the tape guides coming out. They haven't made it full way though. Probably another slipping belt. That should put the pinch roller in, I guess. And that should run the reels. No real connection by the look of it, but something probably hasn't wound everything where it should. Pinch roller hasn't engaged. Has finally timed out. I was going to say, normally the newer machines would time out in no time if there was an issue. I can hear something, sounds like it's still trying to turn, so it probably hasn't hit a stop. Must be a motor underneath somewhere. Oh well, most of it's sort of going. Nice stop. Yeah, I can hear something spinning away. Must be a motor underneath. It was sounded like it was struggling to get those tape guides back. Well, that's promising. Heads look like they're at least not broken. Well, I've got a few red sharp screws. So I always tend to screw the board back in. I think there's enough thread left in there to use the original type of screws, because you don't want the board flopping around, potentially getting damaged. No idea what's under here, but I assume, like many sharp machines, we're going to have to remove or swing the circuit board out of the way to get to the underside. Possibly we've got to take the front panel off too, because usually all the controls on the lower boards stick through, tracking and all that. This looks like that kind of design. No, maybe not. No, they're on a separate board. Couple of screws, and hopefully this board swings up. Oh, here we are. There's our loading belt, and yeah, slippery as. It's bulgy, but it seems to grip quite well. Yeah, it's got a big bulge where it's been sitting. And what have we got? Oh god, look at this mess. Oh, that capstan belt's stuck. It's slowly peeling off though. Oh, we've got that free. Well, that could be one of the issues, but man, it's free, but it's just dropped, and the motor might be able to turn it slightly. Now it's slipping. But this one is probably viable to put a belt kit in. I wonder if I've got a belt good enough for that. This one's sort of still working this large square section. That is not something you'd get real easy. But then again, Wagner still sells some of these large square section belts. That one's kind of usable. This one definitely not. I just wonder, for the sake of trying to get it going, if I've got a cassette or turntable type belt of that size. I guess no turntable had a belt that size. Then again, there's some funny little small machines out there. Oh, God, look at the shape of that, and it's hard. What diameter is that? About 100 or something? About 100mm pipe, I guess. Maybe I can finally put some of this junk to use. Yeah, it's a bit small on that one. Let's see. It might be too tight. Not sure how good these belts really are. They've been packed away for a long time now. Since, yeah, about the time I last saw one of these machines. Back in the early 90s, or early to mid 90s. Wow. That is going to be perfect, I think. Okay, let's toss that other one away. This I can't do much about. That's just taken on the shape it's had for, yeah, sitting on that pulley, I guess. It's kind of usable. I think that'll do. So what was that? 100 by 0.6 by 6. Oh, you get a good workout lifting these back and forwards all day, that's for sure. But no, I lift the tape up because it doesn't drop when it's upside down. No, that belt's slipping, I think. Oh, I've still got this belt off, haven't I? Huh. Well, we've got an eBay belt, probably riding a little high. Oh God, there's half the belt still attached to that. That's probably why, but that might do the job just to get the reel going. That's probably around the 80-85 size or something. That's why it's handy to have even rubbishy belt kits. I guess we could possibly it looks like that's trying to go. Oh yeah, if we do that, we've got reel. We could almost get a picture out of this thing, I think. Why does the solenoid not want to operate? I think that motor's still turning down underneath. That could be the reason. Time to set this thing on its side. Because often you need something to click into place for the tape to start playing. That's certainly struggling. And yeah, the motor's just spinning and spinning and spinning. Oh, there we go. There's that click sound you want. That's it. Yeah, we're in play. We've got pinch roller red lights are flashing on the front, but yeah, we've got real pinch roller. Look at that tape. I think that belt is wobbling, possibly just because the other belt on there or it's too loose, but... And of course the head drum, I don't know how good the picture's going to be with that thing wobbling around either, but the risk of damaging it, I guess we might as well put looks like about a 40mm belt in there. Quick. Okay, so I put a 40 by 1.4 as a loading belt to replace that whole thing, and it seems to work. It gets the thing laced up, we get the click. I think it's time to put a tape in and see if we get an image. Tape counter. There it is. Well, it says 15 and doesn't move from there, but I don't know how they pick up the tape pulses on these things. That is pretty solid, but it's, I assume, got a tension band on it. Is that the tension band? Yeah, it's got a... Whoa. Watch the knuckles on the thing. Yeah, that's... I think that might actually be a sensor on this thing. So... Yeah, there it is. There's two wires coming out of it. Not sure if that picks up your tape counter, but it may. Wow, I didn't expect to get it going that quick, but there you go. Let's try it with an actual tape. It's away, and yeah, there's kind of an image there. It's like the tape guides are miles out. Oh god, it's crunching the crap out of it. That is destroying the tape. Is that pushed in fully? Why is that damaging the tape so badly? Is it the pinch roller? Something is pulling the tape up, and that's what it looks like. Lots of lines. What if we take the tension right off it? Oh yeah, that helps. It's actually stopped destroying the tape at least, but we don't have much of a picture. But yeah, as soon as it does that, you can hear it make that noise. That's actually not a bad picture. I think mainly just tracking out. Yeah, it's got something. Oh. The picture almost locks in, but it's got fast audio. What does that mean? Oh, this is, yeah, that tape.
What did you think?
Most of that is just me adjusting the back tension as well. It's why it's coming and going a bit. Trying not to have it chew the tape. But yeah, those bands on there are most likely because it's running fast.
On the right hand side of the saw shoe and the saw chassis, and that'll effectively tilt the entire swirl.
That's my finger on that pulley that I changed the belt on. Whoops, there goes the belt. Flicked it right off. And then we're back in business.
Having got the saw blade nice and square for table, now convert to custom mode. Follow the test cut procedures in the instruction manual and do a shaving cut on the end of the piece of wood. You'll probably find that along the cut, you've got a perfectly square result, but across the cut, you might find that there's a slight error introduced by the saw slump. Now, in the crosscut mode, the cable is adjustable. So you don't have to fiddle with this wing mode on the front of your saw every time you convert between modes if you've still got a little bit of saw slump. If you've been unable to tighten up your saw adequately, you can obtain from us or from your Triton dealer a saw stabilizer bracket. Now, this bracket fits onto any power saw and very simply
sure what
gives you
happened to the picture just then.
to lock the motor in relation to the
So what I was doing then is just finger on this pulley.
You can obtain from us this Velcro type tape, hook and loop type tape, where you can slip it around the trigger.
Almost get it perfect doing that, which is just
place it firmly in position and hook
using the friction of my skin. But what I just noticed is these two wires feeding into this thing, and we've had a belt that's gone all oily. I wonder if it's corroded, if there's a little coil there that picks up the pulses from that. That's most likely some of our feedback. So just at a wild guess, it is probably worth checking that. I'm going to power off first, I guess, just to be safe. So who knows what's on the other side. 0.120, a bit like our lamp. Still measuring something, so 0.12, you'd assume that'd be alright. At least with this tape it doesn't seem to chew it, I don't think, so we can let that run. Oh my god, it's fine now. What?
Sliding. Your work center may not have lugs like
oh, there
this.
you go. What if something I touched here?
They perform the same function, but the way you use them is a little different, so consult your instruction manual in that case. The lug has to fit in the slot in the chassis. There, and at the front position there, so that you can always line up your saw chassis prior to fitting the table. The next step, truing up the saw, is probably the most important step in terms of getting accuracy out of your work center. If you followed the instructions correctly, by the time you get to this point, the saw will only be loosely clamped onto the slide chassis. Okay, first make sure that the blade is exactly square to the table.
Well, I've actually got a pretty good picture, so did I just pick a dry joint? It didn't seem dry. By accident, or did something else come good? Have we got a dodgy connection somewhere else? Oh, there it goes. Okay, notice this has got drum lock and stuff on it. We've got a dodgy connection here somewhere.
Make sure your
Yep.
is full height.
Here it goes.
Set the riding knife when the blade is actually at full height.
Oh, it's not a wiring harness, is it?
It's within the gap between the two pieces of wood. It's not essential that... If you have an ultra-thin sling blade, you may find that even though you've got the saw blade cutting the fence with a necessary zero, the riding knife and the blade are no longer in line. But what you have to do there is adjust the saw clamp so you can move the saw slightly away from the fence. Get it in
Yeah, it
line
works
with
when
the
we put it back
knife.
together.
That will of course introduce a small error.
Okay, I've got a belt kit for this thing. But these ones haven't been around since, yeah, the 90s. Normally, so it's probably what you'd call new old stock, alright. These belts are probably actually pretty old, probably made back in the 80s or early 90s or something. But anyway, at least they're available. I doubt they would have sold many for these because, like I say, these were a pretty rare machine, at least where I am. This is only the second one I've seen. And the other issue I found when I was messing around last time, I think the camera may have run out of battery or something, but we had that issue where I was wobbling the board around and the picture, was it the drum speed or something was coming and going? Something was, or capstan. But I had a look and some of these connectors on here are really dry. So that'll be our issue on that. It's just dry joints. Might be that one there as well. I'll have to refresh myself. It's been like a month or something since I was last on this, so I'm a bit rusty, but we'll get the belts into it and I'll just resolder part of that board and I reckon we should have a working machine again. Let me swing that back around this way. and see which ones it was. Oh yeah, that connector, definitely the end pins, 3 end pins on that, yeah, dry as. That one there, a couple of bad ones. What's that, AH? What's that one called? Oh, AG. Bit hard, I should really look with my eyes rather than that. AJ. I think that one also, yeah, definitely one dry, doing on the 3rd one in. And a couple others don't look the best. I'll just give the board a quick once over. Oh, this other connector here, AI. Certainly not good. Why don't we check the stuff further down on the board here? That one looks possibly like it's been redone. That one possibly, yeah, that's been partially resoldered, so it must be an issue with these machines, I'm guessing. That one's been partly done. That one looks like it may have been done. But let's go over these things. I guess we probably should fire it up one more time, maybe just to see that we fix that problem. Yeah, Wagner are probably glad to get rid of one of their last belt kits, one of this model, because there can't be too many of them around anymore, since there weren't too many around to start with. Any machines from this sort of earlier era are usually pretty rare. Even the 77, sort of 73 and 77, maybe a 75 as well, that came after this, the big ones, they were pretty rare. The 8300 was the first more common sharp. Even they were not the most common, but maybe because they didn't seem to last very well, they had lots of issues on those. Dry joints was another issue that they suffered from, but I think I only repaired maybe a couple of those machines. I did see them round, but they were sort of, because they were older, I don't think I ever bothered. Not something I'd do up second hand. But the 9300s, they were a dime a dozen there for a while. And there was, I think, a 9100 had no vision search on it or something, a cheaper version. Now I think the 9700 or something might have been a thicker, taller sort of machine. They had a few oddball ones that weren't quite part of the normal range. And yeah, the 300 series, 381, 386 seemed to be a really common one. Probably because it broke down more, because the caps would go in the power supply and put little dots all over the screen. So I think people got rid of more of those. And then again, there were some thicker machines, I think, sort of larger ones. And yeah, it's really the 400, 500 series and stuff that sold in quite large numbers. And then, yeah, then I guess it was the VCA series, or probably when all the first batch started getting old enough that people upgraded them. I guess, you know, a good 10 or more years later, probably going on more like 13 years later, maybe even 15 years later for some of them. That was probably when there was another big sales boom of all the black remote control videos replacing all the older clunkers. Guess I better check my work. I think it's all alright. That's looking a lot better. I think the other components are alright, just this seems to be the wiring. So let's... Now, I guess if this thing was open up a lot of times, maybe that flexed it a bit, but yeah, who knows. Now, how many pulleys have I got to clean? That's still got a heap of caked on stuff, I guess. How dry is that? Oh, actually that's gonna, so dry it's peeling off, so that's good. It's just corroded onto the pulley. It's starting to come off. I was going to say I might have to try the acetone on it, but I doubt it would work because it's solid. But no, that's actually peeled off pretty much all of it. That almost wants something abrasive on there. We need metho. Sometimes a bit of the old kitchen scourer is a good way to get it off if it's really bad, because it does corrode into the brass. Yeah, this may need a bit of scouring. It's not too bad, but cut a little strip of this stuff. Shake off any loose bits after you cut it, but something like that can be enough just to clean it up a bit. I don't think it matters that much, but it's nice to get all the lumpy bits off there. I think this is only a loading motor or whatever, so it probably doesn't matter that much, but and I guess old habits are trying to get it right for the customer die hard. Since it's only my machine, probably doesn't really matter, but and it's probably never going to get used anyway. Do I feel something on there? Oh, that actually feels reasonably stiff too. Yeah, that was definitely lumps of belt still attached to that thing. I think we've got to get the tape out. Operate. Doesn't look like we needed the power anyway. I forgot that just is a mechanical thing. Yeah, we've got a big lump, so half the thing's covered in belt. Here it goes. Might need a slightly sharper screwdriver might help, or even a blade. Break every bit. It's not going to peel off. Yeah, I think that'll be alright. Rub your finger over it just to make sure it feels smooth and there's no lumps. One little bit of something there, I think. One little black bit of belt left. There maybe. At least the pinch roller's nice, isn't it? So let's have a look. God, there's actually more belts in there than I realised. An old plastic's out its date, so let's see. There are 3 big flat belts. I'll keep the rest in there for now. Oh, it's got one of these little idler. So the idler's got a tyre and a little, whatever you call it, on the motor. So 2 the same size, I guess. No, they're actually the same anyway, probably. And that's a lot longer. That must be our capstan belt. So they probably, to make it easy for the belt kit, yeah, they've given us 2 the same, I think. So they must be the same sort of diameter, as I thought. Certainly doesn't hurt to have a slightly wider belt there. Be a bit stronger. So that's belt number 1. That's belt number 2. I think we're going to have to give that a slight bit of scour. Yeah, some cruddy stuff on that head, like a trail along each edge of where the belt was. That's just lumpy rubber. I get a feeling I've seen this stuff so bad I even had to sandpaper it with a fine, really fine grit wet and dry paper or something, so you can always... Now this is coming off, it's slowly dissolving. Sometimes you've got to let the metho dissolve it a bit, or maybe you could try some acetone or something just to soak it a bit. But yeah, that's come up pretty good. And we'll do the aluminium pulley there too, and that's got a similar trail of bits where the edge of the belt were. But I think it's best that the belt has like something smooth to run on, and otherwise who knows, that hard old rubber could damage the new belt or something. And with something like the capstan, obviously it can affect the speed and maybe add a bit of wow to the sound or something potentially. Yeah, it's come up pretty good, it's not too bad at least. A final clean off of that. Do right over that, and there's probably black stuff still coming off it. Some of that's probably a bit of brass that I've taken off. Oops, I think I've taken off whatever writing was on there, but I doubt you can get new heads for it anyway, even if they did tell you anything of use, and you just went by a model number to get the heads anyway, so let's give everything a bit of a clean. Oh, this is bits I can get to easily. The guide's a bit of a clean. Oh, we've got that sensor thing on the back tension arm there, possibly for tape counter or something. I actually glued the head wires down. Someone has. I don't know that that was normal, but because I've got to go underneath to do the capstan, so we might as well find out what we've got to do here. Because chances are, while we're under there, we're going to have to do something. I assume these two with the lacquer on them, doesn't look like they've ever been undone, but then the lacquer does come with the screw, so sometimes you can make it go back, look like it was never touched. But I've never had the cassette housing out of one. I think that's going to have to come out of the way by the look of it. Does that just sort of pivot up? Yeah, it's got something there. Now we're finding where all the dust is hiding. But no, these are still attached on this side. There's no one's had a cassette housing over it, so that's interesting. This machine may have just sat around in a cupboard most of its life for all we know. There we go, that's like a kilo or more just there, I think. And dust and hairs, and so it wasn't exactly perfectly undercover, somewhere safe. Yeah, so two idlers. There should be. Oh, where's the motor shaft? Or is that on the motor? That's on the motor shaft, I think. It's rather. Is it just the other one pressing against it? So that runs all that lot. Oh, that's right. I should have really got another lamp probably, because I think I just shoved a random lamp in there. Didn't even think about that. But yeah, we should really get a proper, if they're still available. I didn't check. Probably hard to get these days, but you never know, they might still stock some of the old stuff. What have we got there? It's just a coloured label. Often they were on rental tapes and stuff. There's our, so we've got a play idler I think there, and fast forward rewind it would be my guess. So now can we just peel these off easily or not? That's the next issue. I should use a smaller screwdriver, at least it's still flexible. Just got to be careful of this old plastic because they usually go under a little lip, which they do. Usually if you can squeeze them out a bit like that and peel them upwards. The other thing I've often been known to do is just cut them, just to be safe. Get your side cutters in there and just snip the thing. Did that break? I think it did, yeah. That way we don't risk breaking the plastic parts or bending anything. That's in pretty good condition, though the surface is probably a bit worn on it. And we don't have much choice when it goes back on, but if you just sort of get one side partly on, a bit like a tyre on a rim or something, and then yeah, push it down gently and just making sure it's not sticking out anywhere. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now we've got these two. I'm not sure if these are the same or different, but yeah, they got a bit of stretch in them, so they should be alright to peel up, I would think. Yeah, like they just sort of fold them up. So that one goes there. We're going to have to get this other one in first. I think we could. I think you can take that lever off. I'm almost tempted to do so, I think. So remove that circlip. Oh, the lamp's in the way, of course. Oh, no, we can just jiggle it out, I think. There's something else holding it on. That'd be right. What is under there? It's another lever or something, so we can get it partly out of the way. So I'm thinking, I think there's a plastic washer on there as well as a circlip. So we've got to be careful of that. Lift it up a bit and try and remove it. Hold that down. I still think we're going to have to get rid of the lamp. That bracket does not want to come loose. We might have to loosen one and try and move it. If I can. There's a little bit there. There we go. You just gotta put a bit of force into it, break it loose. Just a little short blast, short twist. Oh, I see, it's the idler itself that's coming up with that. Okay, now you tell me. We've got a very dusty and covered in red stuff brake pad there, so let's scrape some of the worst off that. Oh, that red stuff was, could have been a bit of label or something, I guess. No, so we could have took the whole. I really just want to get this wheel off. And yeah, just peel it off easy as when you get it out, just to save putting force onto the plastic a bit. I don't think there's really any grease on this stuff, but I might just give it a quick clean up since I can get to it. Probably wants a bit of grease on that pin though. And there's possibly a little bit of oil on that shaft or something. Now we've got to get the this bit back in as well. Yeah, looks like there might have been some grease on the bottom there. Although that sits on the other one, I think. Ah, yeah, there is some grease in there. Being white doesn't help, but there's grease on the bottom of that post. I'll have to put some on that shaft and up it a bit. Might put a tiny bit in there. We should have two idlers that are the same. Again, just start them off and stretch them on. Just making sure they all slot in. One bit's still sticking out there somewhere. So that can go on there. Put a little bit of grease, that's where it was on there. I think on that face there. I'll probably on the other side as well, I guess, because it's scraping on the other bit with the idler on it. And that's kind of got a hook. We start that one on the shaft, followed by this one. There we go. Nothing else to go on, there we go. Yeah. Let's get our circlip on that bit and our washer. Yeah, stuck to me. It's got dust all over it. So let's get our washer on. And our little circlip. Now, where does that lever sit? And get that other circlip on. And get this other idler in place. That's a tight fit, that one. And might as well give those reels a bit of a clean if we can get them to turn. I guess they should probably be lubricated. Yeah, there's red stuff on that. I don't know what that was. That was on that brake pad on that reel. Yeah, same on that one. Something red went through here. What's these other, they just as red? Oh god, what is that? Red brake pads. Oh wow. Should have had a crayon in here or something. Unless that's something to do with the brake pads themselves, but yeah, just pouring off it. I guess it's more like the magenta out of a laser inkjet printer. Well, that's different. It just keeps coming off there. What on earth is that? Well, that's a new one. Never seen that before. Usually they're just a yellowy colour, these brake pads. There's another one there too. That one seems alright, slightly red but nothing major. Wow, that's a weird one. Now, if we take these brakes off and that idler away, runs pretty well, but a little, depends which way you flick it, something's grabbing hold of it. There's a brake. Pretty good. This is the easy way to change the light globe. I just did it the quick way before from above, but if you want to get to the wiring and stuff, much easier without the cassette housing in there. Take this whole piece out and resolder it. Just making sure those wires aren't touching on our idler or anything. God, I already got red stuff on my new idler too. So yeah, at least it's nice and simple to replace most of these things. Little low belt there. (27th of June 1980). Don't know if I found a date on this thing before, but they definitely said they were in that, I think, 79 to 81 era. Maybe even up to 82, but yeah, now what do we got here? Grease that's pretty hard. I think that's the only belt that can be. It's a bit thicker than the original, but that's good too. Yeah, that's gooey, sticky, horrible, hard sort of grease. So it's not so bad. I guess a lot of this isn't even on the bit that's turning by the look of it, because it's not used. So we only have these inner teeth really making contact. If you call them teeth, I mean it's like a worm wheel, so they're big long teeth. I'm going to take that off there. I don't think we really need to worry about the rest of it. Unfortunately, the cotton bud doesn't get right down in there. I guess if we squeeze it maybe with some pliers, otherwise you're going to have to come up with something else to get down. Probably won't matter, it'll just mix in with the new grease and that gets it, all the worst of it. Probably it just pushes it around the other side really, but yeah, I need a new clean bit, but that'll do, I think. Now let's put a nice blob of fresh black grease on there. It's really meant to be all over that gear, although it's got a bit on the teeth. So you can always just keep feeding more in as the gear goes round. To get it on the gear, it'll sort of spread itself out properly later on, hopefully. Too far out of whack, because God knows what we're actually winding there. At least I can see where I've been with all that black grease, but yeah, that's running nicely. And yeah, virtually don't even have to undo anything. Wow, look at that. That's got all oily stuff coming out of it. Give the pulleys the usual clean because there's plenty of black muck on there. Yuck. But this is certainly a nice straightforward one anyone can do really. Nothing difficult about this one, but look at this. Yeah, I'm going to turn. But we will have to undo the bracket like you always do on the capstan. I think we're going to do a bit of scour on this. It's got again a couple of rings of probably rough rubber on there. About half the length, half the surface. Maybe that bit there, I think. There's a bit more. And this lower part, this thing's really seems to like to stick to brass for some reason. Sometimes I just use a screwdriver gently to take the chunky bits off. Oh yeah, that's getting it. Probably puts a few light scratches on there, but I'm not really pressing hard. I'm just catching on the bits of belt which stick up above the surface. Yeah, we're getting there now. That should certainly do it. Get those bits of muck out of there. So, what have we got? Big capstan belt on the lower part. And that's got to get under this other thing. Here's another one with markings and numbers on the capstan. Yeah, and a drill bit, so it must be a balancing, finding the balance point, I reckon, in the machine shop or whatever, where they probably balanced them up. So you know whereabouts to drill that bit of metal out. It seems to be lifting up just ever so slightly, but that's where it wants to sit. I swear this belt is shorter than it was. Or did it go that side? Of course I've forgotten now, haven't I? Yeah, I think that must have gone on that side because it's not going to fit on the other one. Yeah. Try and get the twist out of it a bit. Probably have to manually get all of it. Yeah, we've got one belt left over, big long one. I don't think that fits this machine. Maybe there was one with a mechanical counter version or something. Because I think that belt kit fits more than one machine. I think there's about 3 different models they had listed, as is usually the case. And do I bother giving all this a clean up? I'll get the hair and stuff out of it, I guess. Get the dust out. So I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on the shaft there, on this little face, in amongst the old grease. Flicks pretty well. don't know that it would go any faster than that anyway. And I think the bit under there I'll put a bit on. But this really wants stripping down a bit and doing properly, but there's this bit here. And these rollers I'm pretty sure should have had... Did they actually roll? Or are they just... But if we do it down the side where they go... Down this little path they follow, I think that'll be enough for the moment. And the same on the other end. It is an actual roller, that definitely turns quite freely. It does have some not so nice looking grease on it off to the side of the path where it's been going. So I think if we just put a bit of grease on that thing, it should run it up and down these little bits where it goes. And same with this one, just run it up inside the metal path. Bit of a messy job, but why is there grease on that bit? Something must touch that. There's another pivot point in there, I think. Oh, that's the door. Oh yeah. Well, that works fine, but yeah, that ideally could do with something down in there. Yeah, there's all sorts of little pivot points. Although with the other ones I was going to do, I'll remove the old grease off it, so let's put some new in its place. Just so we're not overloading any motors or anything, even though I think most of this was manual anyway, so that's not going to happen, I guess. Now I've got to get the display board out of the way again. Right, that's the out one, that's the in one. Now we've got our dummy tape. Oh, that's, I have no idea what button I'm pressing. That's play by look at it. We've got reel, pinch roller, drum. I think that was stop. I thought one of these, oh that must be, oh yeah, here we go, fast forward. It's cutting out, which is good. That must be rewind, yeah. Yeah. Is that because we're not sensing tape moving? Although we're not laced up, are we? That was pause, I think, record. Oh well, I think it's safe to insert a tape. Can't get used to that, that's really weird. Yeah, it does cut out. Ooh, that doesn't even rewind. Oh dear, we've done something to it. Play is... Yeah, weird. Well, that's interesting. That's what, we don't have a counter built in there, that's for sure. Oh, one thing, how do we get the counter up? Oh, there it is. Because that's diagnostic, and yeah, nothing. Obviously that one's not actually turning. So it does act like we don't have a counter. At least it's not chewing the tape. Yeah, that has virtually no torque. It seems to lace up. Oh no, it does cut out now. I could have sworn that laced up before. Oh, the wire's broken. Did I even touch that? I don't think I even touched that, but oh, did it happen when we put the cassette housing back in or something? Oh yeah, could have done. Yeah, that's exactly what did it. Well, that's right near it, so yeah. Well, that's a weird one. So I'm guessing that sensor is what does detect our tape, the counter, all that. How weird. It doesn't seem to be particularly tight there or anything. And I didn't change. So someone's cable tied. Again, maybe that was in the factory, but how strange, it's just broken at that cable tie. That's what happens when you touch these old things. So if it's out of the way there, it shouldn't have, but it definitely comes down with a flat bit on the cassette housing. That flat bit there comes right down that side. I think I'll just have to join it for now with a bit of heat shrink tubing or something, but how weird. But I never really touched that bit at all. And yet it's failed. I don't think I've ever had a wire break in a video cassette mech before. That's certainly a new one. Yeah, I mean the only wires you normally ever fiddle with was the sensor lamp, and normally the rest of them are well out of the way. So that's an interesting one. I'm just going to poke it alongside that for the minute. Yeah, that one's actually quite tight, the black one. Oop. I hope I didn't break that one as well. Something just moved. I think I did just break that one as well. Oh, you're kidding me, that just snapped as well. Okay, so those were probably held too tight. Oh well, better to break it now than straight after a... Oh, there's a bit of wire just came up. Oh, it goes to this little board, of course. I did see that. Again, I didn't touch that board, so I don't know what is going on there, but they were both very tight in that cable tie. So that's the thing. If one's gone, best to poke around the other one and see what's going on. But given this machine doesn't seem to have been really touched much, I guess surely it would have had a sensor lamp in it once, unless it blew its first sensor lamp and they put it away and never touched it again, because if someone hasn't had that mech out, they can't have been near this surely, so that's really weird. Because normally you put it down to someone messing around and putting things back in the wrong spots or something. That's why you have to be careful how you reassemble things, but no idea. That's got to be factory cable ties, I guess. No, it's not counter. Although I've got no tape in this machine. Well, then it shouldn't work. Yeah, with no tape in it, should it? If it's the counter thing, well, at least we've got 27 on the counter now, which more than it showed before. No, nothing still. Okay, to get this thing to know that you've, well, sort of know you've got the tapes in, there is no actual electronic sensor. I think you just press that, which allows these buttons to unlatch. So we haven't got a in switch as such, I don't think. One thing we might have is that playing it. Yeah, we've got our sensor lamp is operating these end sensor here, end sensor there. So the trick with those is a piece of insulation tape. Been a while since I put insulation tape over a sensor, but you can do that with LED or lamp ones. But yeah, we're not getting wherever we're supposed to be going. And one thing I just noticed is that drum seems awfully slow for a drum. It should spin up, you would think, pretty good. I mean, it was working before. Well, that's a big heavy brass head, so even if the bearing's a bit out, it's probably going to spin them reasonably well. Well, that should spin better than that, I would think. I wonder if putting a new belt on it is dragging something, if that motor's a bit dodgy. Be just my luck, we've got a faulty drum motor that shows up after I order the belt kit, which is why I tested it in the first place. Now that, I think, was the drum belt. Yeah, the one with all the white corrosion on it. I don't think it was real good, but we were getting it to work. It's pretty hard. So yeah, no, I don't think we're going to get much action out of that. You're definitely running faster though. Actually, I don't know, stopping it now. Which bit? I guess it's the drum itself. Yeah, if I hold that, I'll just get that other belt, which was the same size. And where was it? It was over here, wasn't it? That was the other load belt. Because that's in a bit better condition, I think. Yeah, it runs okay with that. Now, so it's just possibly the drum motor's dodgy. Let's slow it down a little bit. Yeah, if you slow it down, yeah, just slowing it down a bit seems to. So that's what it is. I was thinking it was some sort of sensor or something wasn't getting where we wanted, but it's typical. And the other thing I've got to check, that's why I normally check them before I put a belt kit in, because if you've got a dodgy drum motor or something, there's not much point. And it slips reasonably easy. And that's a brand new idler on there, so that's the two idlers. Ton of torque. Like, you can stop it, but although we're stopping both idlers, what did that other one run off? Which, you know, that shows we're putting way too much torque on it, I guess, if it's wrong one. But here I'm not stopping the idler, it's just slipping against the reel. So what actually gets it in place? So this slide plate thing. Oh, that bit moves on its own, that's not it, it's this piece here, I think. We've got the brake free, yeah, tension arms off, so not putting too much on there, but we know it's not that anyway because we can make it slip easily. Yeah, that slides up, this whole piece, and you can see it swing across. I'm not sure if that actually pushes it across though. I'm not sure it even just allows it across. There's a spring pulls it across. I can't see if that metal bit's cut out. I guess we could maybe take, is that a little, yeah, a little grub screw in there. I might even take that off and have a look. Get our little VCR kit of tiny Allen keys out. That's the one. Oh, it does not want to let go though. There you go. Sometimes you've got to grab it with some pliers or something and just down low. Man, that is tight. Even when now I've cracked it, that is super tight. Probably got some sort of Loctite or something on it, but lacquer or whatever, I can't see any, but it sure feels like there's something there. And it's going to take 1,000 little tiny turns to loosen it off by the look of it. Yeah, it's not even showing any signs of loosening off. Might be better doing it where I can get more twist on the Allen key. But I don't want to undo it too much, it'll fall out and we'll lose it. So even undoing that is not really achieving anything. So it looks like we've got more than just that locked in place. Problem is you can't really prise on this plastic much or you risk breaking it. Oh, there we go, that's enough to loosen it though. I can see it's coming free. Just get the screwdriver under and twist it a bit. Yeah, there's no slot there to allow it, so it's something else that allows it to come. Ah, there it is, and it is on that piece. There's an angle bit up here and a pin. So it's not coming across as far as it could. But that is turning that way, so yeah, I'm not sure if that's. So is this what it's sprung on not right, or is there dried grease? If nothing else, it's a good chance to lube a couple of bits in there that are probably nothing to do with it. But while I can get in there, just gotta be careful not to get that on the reel. But let's put a bit of grease on a couple of things. Yeah, kind of need to get it. I might even use that little Allen key. Just to get on the inside there, without getting it on the reel. Yeah, just push that forward and get it on these bits. Why the head's running in rewind? Oh, I never noticed that. It runs the heads. That's not normal. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that that is so slipping. Just make sure we didn't get any grease on there and give this thing another clean. Well, it is pretty slippery. God, that lamp gets quite hot. I just touched it and unless it's something to do with that red stuff on the brakes or something, there's still a bit of that coming off, but it's just as likely that something's not pushing across properly. I guess that rotates as well, doesn't it? I might even put a tiny bit of oil in that. Probably have to put it on a cotton bud. Yeah, there you go. Ah, beautiful little drip just sucked itself under there by capillary action or whatever, so that's good. That's exactly what we want. So I'll get rid of any excess oil, and we don't want it up that shaft because we want to lock back onto that. But now I don't know what's going on there. And we know that the tyre bites into this other tyre no problem hard enough until we can stall it. It does look like it's sitting a little high, that tyre, but oh, it isn't now. So that was, I think I was riding a tad high. I've gone like, yeah, not even half a millimetre lower. Yeah, that now they mesh together better. I noticed it was sitting a bit higher for some reason. Maybe the other one's got lower over time is probably more the case, but Anyway, not that it matters that much probably, but nice to have the two tyres at the same height. So the surfaces are fully in contact, even though it was only a tiny amount out. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen putting a new belt in something cause it to actually play up. Usually they fix all the problems, but sometimes if something's on its way out, it'll put enough tension on it that it will stop working, like in this case. This is something to be aware of if you get problems after you put belts in, but yeah, very rare it normally happens. But of course these machines are a lot older and we've got other issues now, so I think we take 2 screws out on that bracket, get rid of our power, and it looks like it's a Matsushita motor. I can see the little 3 diamond symbol there. Unless that rewind and fast forward is just vision search, but I don't think it is. It shouldn't really run the drum normally. Now, do we need to disconnect some wiring? I guess I'm going to have to go underneath this thing anyway. Might be a good chance to look at that idler setup. That's the player idler. Oh, it's this other. Oh, probably if that's this gear here, that's your play one. And that's your rewind one. It's on this aluminium part that moves across. Now, I guess that big spring there is the one that pulls it the way we want. Yeah, that's the one. I guess if it's safe to do so, I can probably hook up the power again. Or not. Oh, I wonder if we've got light in the sensor here. That would be it. And then the reel cuts out anyway. Well, let's turn it off maybe. Can we get it into that mode? Yeah, just even without the power on. So we're now again pulling against a nice new belt. So that may have something to do with it. I think we might need to retension that. Yeah, that spring could probably do with pulling a bit tighter. Oh, bit of a pain when you've got to cover all the sensors up here. So again, I think we've added a problem by fixing it. When I get the motor out, it's actually got a capacitor bent over and I think a piece of wire. So they must have mounted this on here. I have to bend the cap and poke the wire over the bit of metal, then there's still something holding it. That should all come up with the motor. So yeah, they've obviously assembled it and dropped the whole upper piece of metal on the deck around the guides and stuff with that motor on it in the factory. And it's just other wires and stuff I think in the way now, just all this other stuff in here is holding it back. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that capacitor there and that bit of black wire I had to flick so they came up under this upper piece of metal here that's sitting on the main chassis. 26th of July 1980. Can we find the end of this thing? Oh, that's just the earth wire, okay. Yeah, that's not a very nice feeling motor. I wonder if we can lube it from above with a bit of oil or something, or... Well, I guess it's the obvious thing to try first, is just run some oil down there, see if we can free it up. which might be enough to get it going again. Once it gets down to that shaft area, it should drop down. Oh, that's already feeling better. Yeah, at least it spins a little bit on its own now. I think I'd prefer to really dismantle it, but yeah, that's substantially better. Not sure they should really spin any freer than that. It's probably got brushes in it, so that's probably slowing it down a bit. Just get this oil off my hands and wipe it off around here. Well, I'm going to try that. I think that's possibly enough to get it working again, so that really wanted doing anyway. Well, I just didn't notice that it was an issue until it became one with a new belt. And then we might have to retension that spring a bit just to pull it a bit harder. To get that rewind idler working. Now what have we got here? Some wires. I don't want to crush them under there. There's another blue wire. Well, I guess we'll try the new belt. Let's see if it's got enough torque and to get itself going. Yeah, that feels a bit better. Yeah, it looks like it's going to work. I'm just going to turn that off, because even though I wasn't too fussed about it, I think I'll give these tape guides a bit of a clean. All the paths they go on. See if we can get rid of some of this horrible old grease out of here. It's sort of coming off. I think we're going to have to scrape some of it off. Yeah, just scrape that chunky. I don't think that's even where anything runs, but still, it's got a bit of scrape marks there, like it has been bad for a while and someone's used it in that condition. Maybe that's just normal sort of scraping and a little bit of polishing that it does anyway. And scraping off the actual guides themselves, they've got some horrible yellowed grease there. Gone down below. I'll get rid of that. Flick that in the bin. Yeah, same on this side, a bit of grease with dust. And you just do this gently. It doesn't really scrape anything or make the metal rough or anything. Yuck. But that's a lot less daunting when you've got it apart like that to do that job. And now that I know the drum motor's looking like it might behave itself, of course I'm perfectly willing to wipe everything down and get rid of all the dust and old grease if you really want to restore it. Just using a bit of metho. Once you get that really caked on stuff off, it usually dissolves it fairly well. The best thing about alcohol or methylated spirits is it dries nice and quick, so you don't have to wait for anything. You can pretty much clean it off and then slap your grease straight down. cotton bud dipped in grease of this to spread it around a bit more. Don't need a ton of it, but just along that path, and it should sort itself out a bit. And doesn't hurt if you get down in the side parts of this little slot. Get some down in there as well as on the top surface. But that should at least remove any friction from around there, because that is one of the harder bits of work the mech tends to do, is sliding the guides out, especially when there's a tape in there with its tension on them and stuff, which is probably not a lot, but still all adds up. That drum's flying now. Let's spread that grease around a bit. And here we have drum action in fast forward, drum action in rewind. It actually feels a little bit better, but still not hard. They need a lot of torque to do a tape, especially when it's at its end, to rewind it. So what we do, remembering to get rid of our tape, I think I'm probably safe to put the cassette housing back in again. Yes, this belt from here to there is pulling back against that spring. And I think that's basically what's taken a bit of tension off. The spring kind of looked like it was bent a bit more than it should have been anyway. It's got an awfully long bit on the top. I think if we just twist it around a bit more, it's not even just that little tiny bit, and close that end bit up a bit. Now whether I can get it back over through the hole. That's it. Doesn't look a hell of a lot different, but do we need to do more? I mean, you can always take a turn off it or something. Wouldn't be the first time I had to do something like that in an old machine, because things do wear out in these things and get out over time, and it's not worth spending hours trying to work out exactly what is out. Oh, what have we got here? Something just fell out of it. I guess the only hassle is we can't easily check the thing now, but we can load that up and get our finger in there. And it's still probably a bit slippy. I think it's a tad better than it was, but the best thing is actually put a tape in and just try and rewind it, especially towards the beginning of the tape there. And yeah, nothing. Okay, looks like we may have to do the old take a turn off trick. And you don't actually have to cut the spring or anything, you just change the point at which it's hooked over the other bit there. In this case, well, sometimes you can do the post end. In this case, we're hooked over the idler part end. And it's really just a matter of stretching it a bit. Ooh, and trying to stop it, yeah, cutting into your skin and trying to stab you. That might be sticking down a bit far, but let's just fold that round, get that bit in. Yeah, see, now we've got a little pigtail thing there. And see if that does our job for us. because that's about the only thing left that actually determines how much forces we're getting on there. And some manuals will tell you to actually change the turns on the springs if such and such doesn't work. Yeah, I thought I heard something move. That actually lifted up for some reason when I turned the machine upside down. No, it's working now, so yeah, just I think it was mainly that new belt added tension. Might have to dig around and see where the signal comes for the counter. And yeah, but the only other issue we've got is some speckles and stuff on the tape, on the image.
Having got the saw blade nice and square to cable, now convert to contact mode. Follow the test cut procedures in the instruction manual and do a shaving cut on the end of a straight piece of wood. You'll probably find that a longer...
So yeah, we've got that on the image, which is not good. And that can be some sort of noise from the motor or the heads or something. Could be an electrical issue, capacitors or something. I don't think we had it originally. Otherwise a pretty good picture. Unfortunately, that's probably about as far as I can go with this one for the moment. I might just have a quick look at how we get this display apart, because at least it'll look better if it's got the dust out of that. Seeing this plastic just comes off. There's a plastic, I can see a clip there. Are they running? I don't think we had light globes, did we? I must admit I wasn't taking much notice, but it's actually backlit. I was just looking at that bit of metal stuff behind it with foil coloured stuff. I thought that looks a bit backlit. Oop, channel display's gone weird. Now we're good. No, I don't see any sign of lights there. Oh, well, there you go. It's not just the sensor lamp these things have. Now, there should be DC voltage in this thing. Maybe not. Well, it's actually got like 5 volts AC on it. Well, that's random. I wasn't expecting to find AC. So maybe a couple of 6 volt globes in there will do. I had a feeling that some of the sensor lamps on these were 5 volts in some of these sort of era machines. Let's I might even put them in so we can at least see what they look like. Let's take that board off. Yeah, they got the little blue bits stuck on plastic bits. So this circuit board here must come off these little smaller screws and whatever's behind this LCD. And then hopefully, well, I don't know if I even have to take that one, but I need to be able to see where the other clip is for the clear plastic cover. Now I can see the old LCD edge connector there, so this might loosen the LCD off. I'm not sure what we got exactly. We've got a trimmer capacitor there, so that's something. And yeah, a couple of triangular LEDs, which is a bit different. More something you find in car cassette players for the auto reverse. Ooh, wasn't expecting that to come so loose. Drop on my LCD. I've got one clip there. What was that? A bit of foam. Yeah, it's a bit of foam dropped out of somewhere. I'm not even sure where that came from. I'll have to Look back on the camera for that one. Must have got a little flat bit. What on earth was it sitting on? This LCD is actually kind of loose now, I think. And I don't want to mess with that if I... Oh, there's the other clip. I'm just blind. It's hiding near that bit of molten or melted plastic there. Can we get this open without breaking it? That one's popped out. Yeah, that's coming. This one, they've melted something here. So, oh, that was where that foam was, I guess. It's the foam that's melted on it. Okay. That's why I couldn't see it, because the foam was... And now we've sold where the foam went. Even though it was probably on camera as clear as day. I was looking at other things. Gentle. And it looks like this whole bit comes apart. Hopefully all these buttons don't fall out, but they probably do. No, they're in there, but yeah, a lot of dust. It's even worse than I thought it was. That has got tons of dust in there, and it's all over the front of the LCD display. I'm trying not to push that out because it's got a kind of edge connector, foamy, rubbery edge connector thing on it. But that'll look a ton better with that gone. And I guess yeah, the inside of this bit. Now I can give that a proper clean. And the buttons are pretty dirty, but at least we can clean around the buttons on this bit. And probably leave a bit of paper behind which I'll have to get rid of. So the LCD display doesn't actually have a aluminium piece on the back of it on its own. It's actually that piece that we took off. So that's a bit odd, so you can get a see-through version of it at the moment. Just the polarizer and stuff, that's a bit weird. Usually they came all assembled. But is that... Oh, I see, so they've... Oh yeah, okay, that's clever. So what they've done is they've put the aluminium rather on the back of the display. Of course, I was just thinking you can't backlight it. So this is a early backlit LCD method of doing it, I guess. So these displays at least were lit up. I was thinking they weren't much good in the dark, but it turns out they are lit up. But they've sandwiched this aluminium and this plastic bit so they can edge light the plastic diffuser, sort of translucent bit of plastic, and that way they can light the display and still have it work normally in the daytime because it's got an aluminium backing to reflect outside light. So these are sort of soldered from the back by the look of it. A bit weird, but I don't know if I can get that out without desoldering it. There we go. If you sort of melt it and quickly get on the other side, it will come out. And we're going to get the little blue rubber bit off. Usually just pull them with your fingernail and hope they aren't too cooked. These ones are pretty good, they haven't run too hot, thankfully. Oh no, I tore it. That's what I was afraid of. I think these lamps are slightly bigger, which doesn't help. And yeah, it really does not want to go on there. There we go. Let's see how it goes. Oh yeah, I can just see it. It's not particularly bright, but we do have the wrong voltage lamps, I guess. Yeah, I think they could do have been quite a bit brighter. Which one's the counter button? Not tape counter. Yeah, that's really dim. I'm not sure if the camera's even going to pick that up much. Possibly you could move those lamps back and forward a bit. Might be why they're designed to sit in that way, just to get the filaments exactly so they line up with the edge of that plastic. In a darkened room that would work. Unfortunately, if they're 5-volt lamps, don't think I can do much to get 5-volt lamps, though possibly those sharp sensor lamps with the white leads on them might have been 5-volt. I think I might have to look in the Wagner catalogue. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing to say the least. Well, that's it in the complete dark. Just looks pretty yellowy. You can just make out a slight bit of that blue on one of the lights, other one not so much. So those filters aren't doing much. Probably want some LEDs in there, something I might do one day. Interestingly though, I just noticed is the, don't know if that shows up, but you can actually see the cassette door lit up, which I guess is the sensor lamp, which is a bit dim at the moment anyway. So I guess that's another use of a sensor lamp I never actually thought of. Don't think most of the later videos with sensor lamps had clear doors, but I guess it allows you to find the tape compartment in the dark. But yeah, I've put all this thing back together and cleaned it up a bit. Still has that issue, which I've just edited most of the video, and it doesn't look like it had it originally, with those sort of little short lines, speckle things on the playback picture, so I'm not sure what's causing that. So that might be a job I'll have to look at later on. I did find with the tape counter, being a weird old machine, you got to read the instruction book and you hit tape counter, then this S button for set, and well, it didn't work, did it? It's back up now, and if you do that and put a tape in it, it should actually, we'll just put a dummy tape in there. We should get some counter action, hopefully. 3, 4, 5, so it's going quite quick. Hopefully that comes up on the camera a bit. Well, I guess the reels probably run a little bit faster than it would, since we haven't got any load on the, no tape in there. Oh, no rewind, so at least we know now it's on the take-up reel, because when we do just the supply reel and rewind, we don't get any action. So that shows that would be where the sensor's mounted. I know that the machine stops when the reels aren't turning properly, so that's where it is. And that other little arm on the back tension arm that I had to repair the broken wires on, my guess is that is this, possibly the tape remaining, but also this what do they call it, APLD, automatic program location device or something. Oh, it does say there, oh, yeah, auto program locate device. Supposedly I think it actually puts some sort of marking on the tape, so that might be an actual head you can record with, or maybe it's just the erase head puts a marking and then that one looks for it again, would be my guess. I think that's more like what that sort of thing is to do with. Oh, it's come up on the screen, APLO. You know, it's meant to be APLD, that's what it means. Now we can't clear our counter by the look of it. Nice memory, tape counter. Oh, I cleared it somehow. But yeah, got to hit the set button. And yeah, I'm guessing that other thing is probably what sensors our program locations. I think it doesn't look for like blanks in the tape or anything. I don't think it just looks for some sort of tone or other signal that the machine itself put on there. So it'll only work with tapes recorded in this machine, or one of these machines that also has, someone's actually used the function, I guess, or maybe it automatically puts one down. I have seen the same sort of feature in other machines, including that same device further on. I guess it makes sense that it would be at the back tension side, the inlet side to the heads, so I can find the thing and stop in time, I guess, or hopefully in time, or closer to the location of that thing that's coming up on the tape, that particular program. But anyway, the counter is working fine, so that does come off that take up reel by the look of it. That was just me not knowing that you had to press a set button, because that's kind of weird, but this is a somewhat weird machine and not the normal way of using things, because like I say, this is kind of a proto VHS machine, I guess. It's not the standard one that we got a bit later on, where they're all pretty much the same. If you could use one, you could use the others. Maybe the setting the program record or something was a bit different, but other than that, they were pretty similar to use for basic functions. But this one's a little bit weirder. I did find they're all standard screws, the larger Japanese type threads, so I did find a bunch of second-hand screws to screw the top cover back on. And I think this will mainly just be a display machine. I could have just left it like that without doing anything to it really. It looks a heap better with that display cleaned out though, but I would like to try and make that light up a bit better. Certainly spent more time on this than I intended to, because really it is only really a display sort of thing. Not really worth fixing, but since it was mostly working until I put the new belts in it, I thought I might as well get it going. And if I get a bit of time, I'll scan the menu in. I think it is online somewhere already anyway, the instruction book, but maybe do the Australian version and put it on the end of the video if I get a chance, but it's going to be quite a bit of editing as it is. But anyway, thanks for watching.